So this is about nutrition. I'm just going to hit some highlights on nutrition on this, okay? So, except for one thing, I lost my piece of paper. Here we go. All right. Now, whole foods. Does everybody know what a whole food is? Know what that term means? Okay, what it means is it's a food in its natural state. So if it's cooked, it is no longer a whole food. Okay, very simple. Why is that important? Because when you cook foods, they lose their nutritional value, okay? Especially vitamin C. If you boil carrots, or I should say boiled green beans, that's a better example. All the vitamin C that's in the green bean is now in the water. Okay, because it simply cannot, it doesn't hold up, okay? So that's the biggest problem, is that, you know, cooked foods, sure they taste great, except that they've lost a lot of the original nutritive value that they had. So the more you can do with the just picked, the better off you're gonna be, all right? So,
Can I ask, did the vitamin C stay in the green bean water if you drink the green bean water?
not really, it's a very fragile vitamin, it
Is it?
just
Okay.
kinda goes away.
Do you know what percentage of it goes away at
I
all?
don't off the top of my head, I really don't. I
Okay.
should, but I don't. Okay, so we want to look at fresh fruits, fresh veggies, fresh nuts, fresh seeds, anything that we can as close to what it was originally. It's not always going to be possible, you know, I don't eat raw meat. My sister will eat a raw steak, I can't do that, you know, steak tartare, I can't do that. I like things cooked, okay, and sometimes things do taste good cooked, so we're not always gonna be in the perfect situation, but as much as we can, we go that way, okay? Alrighty, so, if they're whole, they're gonna contain the highest concentrations of nutrients, like vitamins, enzymes, and fiber. You know, as we get older, we make less of our own digestive enzymes, but a lot of foods have natural digestive enzymes in them, like papaya is a great example. Papaya contains papain. That's where we kind of get that word. Papain comes from papaya, and it's a great digestive enzyme. When I'm in a foreign country, especially Central America, I do my best to get a hold of as much papaya as I can because it helps my stomach, and I have some stomach problems. So,
Daniel just loves it in general. He eats like candy whenever it's at Walmart or whatnot.
yeah, and you can't find them very often. I mean, they're not that
Yeah.
fresh around here.
Yeah, I can't stand them. They taste like feet to me, but.
Yeah, I don't think they taste good either, so what I do is I'll take a piece of pineapple with a piece of papaya and I can eat that, but I
So
can't
it's not
stand
your
it straight.
favorite fruit either.
No, I think they taste like
You have
feet too.
They do.
Feet.
They taste like
They're
those
not
milk.
good.
I was thinking I might try it, but I just don't know.
No.
If you mix
Hey,
it in
extra
with a
for
fruit
something else.
salad.
No. Something that I
Papaya
love,
extract
and
or
that they do
something.
down in Central America, is they, you know how we make smoothies here. Well, they actually they just take the fruit and make pulp out of it in the blender, and you drink it. It's just pure fruit. It's so good. And it has everything in it, and it's so fresh. Oh, it's just so yummy. Okay. All right. Oh,
I don't have one of them.
well, honey, I'll give you one. Here.
Oh, thank you.
Here, have more than one, okay. All right, let's see, let's go on. Now let's talk a little bit about what a GMO is. Has anybody ever heard the term genetically modified food? All right, are they all evil?
To me they are, but I don't know if they really are.
Anybody here, ever grow a hybrid tulip? Anybody like seedless watermelon? Well, those are GMOs, okay? They're not all evil. GMOs are not all evil. What's evil is because maybe we make a hybrid like that. We put an orange with seeds together with a tangerine and we get a tangerine. We get seedless things, okay?
For nectarines, like peach and plum.
Yeah, pluots.
Blue eyes.
Okay, those are all good things, we like those. There's nothing wrong, I think God likes creativity, I think He's okay with us creating a few new things like pluots. I love pluots. But anyway, what's wrong with the GMO? Okay, here's the pros on this. A genetically modified food helps a farmer grow a larger crop, feeds a lot more people, okay, keeps the food cheaper, that's a good thing. Okay, the crops are more resistant to blight, that's a good thing, we can feed the world. Okay, let me go to the cons. Evidence of sterility and possible death in animals that are fed GMOs. Not good. It's a very new technology.
I'm not sure what else, yeah.
Yeah, when it's
Okay.
new, we haven't really had enough time to figure out what's gonna happen yet. It's like the latest drug on the market. Do I really wanna take that, or do I wanna wait a year to see what happens to the other people?
See how many commercials you say sue the company. and you're like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Brown and Crouppen gets on the air. So, okay, it is, and GMOs are illegal in parts of Europe. France, Germany, Greece, and I know there's one other country, have completely banned GMO crops. They will not buy seed.
Do you know what their reasoning is?
I'm gonna tell you, higher pesticide and weed killer content. Why do we have GMOs? Here's why. Monsanto is the seller of GMO seed on grain crops, corn, wheat, whatever, okay? They're the ones that have genetically modified. They are also the manufacturer, the major manufacturer of pesticides in the world, all right? Roundup. The GMO plant can tolerate Roundup better, so it doesn't kill it. So the farmer can use more Roundup to kill the weeds so he can grow more crops, except, what did we just talk about? It's in the soil, it's in the plant. Okay, so now, when you're eating a loaf of bread from Walmart, which is made from GMO wheat, okay, you are now consuming more Roundup. Okay, that's the problem with GMOs. Not all GMOs are evil, but when we start talking about grain crops, all of us eat them. That's the problem with GMOs. All right. I don't think we've begun to see this. Now, I tell you what, I think on here, no, I didn't. I thought I did. You guys can Google Dr. Oz. Now, I'm not a big Dr. Oz watcher. In fact, I don't watch him at all. But while I was doing, just researching all this stuff, I happened to run across a program in which he had a debate between the microbiologists that actually developed the GMOs and natural food experts. And he had that on the air. And it was very fascinating to hear both sides of the argument. And it made me stop and say, because I've always been totally against GMOs, and I suddenly realized, you know what, I really like seedless watermelon, I'm okay with that, you know? So, that's a good one for me. But the fact is, that if we go to GMO crops like this, and we're buying all of our seed from Monsanto like this, what happens if something happens with Monsanto and we can't get seeds off of these plants anymore because they don't reproduce? You know, they're like a mule, they can't reproduce. So what do? This is kind of a scary, iffy thing, like I said, it's new technology. Where do we go from here? Okay, so those are all, that's just food for thought. All right, now, let's talk about BGH. Has anybody heard of bovine growth hormone? That you have, yeah. Bovine growth hormone, another thing developed by Monsanto. They're not my best friends. I don't think I'll ever be best friends with them. All right. What it does is it makes the cow make more milk. Okay? So we give Bessie a shot of bovine growth hormone, and instead of putting out 2,000 gallons a year, she puts out about 20,000 gallons a year. Okay? However, because she's putting out so much milk, guess what happens? I mean, here are females here, there are some females here. Anybody heard of mastitis? You know how painful it is? Okay, cows develop mastitis. They get very sick, so now we have to give them antibiotics, which, by the way, go into the milk. Okay, so now we not only have bovine growth hormone, which goes into the milk, we now have antibiotics that go into the milk, and we're feeding them to our children. Now, the cow dies younger. What happens to our kids?
They're dying younger.
They're getting sicker, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There are no label requirements for BGH. None. Okay? So what we want to look for is products that say natural or hormone-free. If the word natural shows up, that means there are no hormones present.
Would organic also be?
Yes. Organic and natural. But a lot of people can't afford organic. Organic is very expensive. What organic means, the difference between organic milk and natural milk, organic means that the cow is actually eating organic food. Okay? All right, natural means the cow is not getting the antibiotics and hormones. Okay, but he's not being fed organic foods. So are sheep. Okay, so that's really the main difference. But if you're going to buy one product that is organic, buy organic milk. Okay. We can kind of dink around with a few other things, But if we can avoid putting those kind of hormones in our body and additional antibiotics into our body that our body doesn't need, that's a big, big deal.
So what brand, is that just available like freely? I mean,
There's a lot of different brands out there. At about every grocery store these days, if you look for it, it'll have organic milk written on it.
Yeah, even Walmart has great value organic milk, but it's about $6 a gallon.
It's expensive, but like I said, a lot of people, I mean, I can't afford organic meat. That's just ridiculously expensive. You know, I try to buy natural
Just as
chicken.
many cans of
Yeah, organic is very expensive, but, okay. All righty, now. Moving on, artificial sweeteners. NutraSweet,
Yeah,
aspartame. Guess who makes that? Just go ahead and tell us.
same.
Oh, you're good, look there, you guys good.
Oh.
Ooh, you get a name.
Oh, really?
It is linked with severe nerve injury and fetal damage.
And tumors,
fibromyalgia.
and on it goes.
That's that nerve injury thing, okay? There are even some links, you know, it's been very well covered up, guys. It's hard to find this information, but some of it, you know, even indicates like Gulf War syndrome is tied to NutraSweet. It literally turns to formaldehyde inside your body. That's what it becomes inside your body. Okay, when it's metabolized by the liver, it becomes formaldehyde. Now, the argument that Monsanto has on that, it's not very much formaldehyde. Oh, well, how much poison is too much? You know, a couple drops have, you know, how much is too much? You know, we have it in our sodas, we have it in our, you know, everything we drink and eat. No, it's not good stuff. Okay. Splenda. Sucralose is the name of Splenda, the generic name, okay? Gut problems. What sucralose does, it contains chlorine. Now, our water is chlorinated, okay, so it's not a horrible, horrible thing. But for people that already have problems with their gut, it's going to make their gut worse because the added amounts of chlorine that are going into your body are killing off your natural intestinal flora. So if you have irritable bowel syndrome, it's gonna get worse. Okay, if you have constipation, it's gonna get worse. Whatever it is, it's gonna get worse if it's a gut problem. So we don't wanna use that if we can help it, okay? Sweet and low, if you're gonna choose one out of those three, you know, when you're out at a restaurant and you don't have your stevia with you, I would go with sweet and low, okay? Saccharin is linked to cancer, but in the original testing, when they did this, they gave them like 100 times as much as you could possibly consume in a lifetime, and a couple of them got cancer, in rats, so it's probably not all that bad, okay? All right. And then stevia. We were just talking
Yay.
about stevia. Yay, stevia. Yeah, it's natural leaf. I think it originated in Paraguay, but the Japanese started using it about 75 years ago. No one has had a side effect from it, ever. Great stuff. Stevia is our friend. Use stevia as much as you
So
can.
may I ask a question, is that Truvia or Sol, how is that?
Truvia is a form of stevia.
It has a little
Form
extra
of-
something in
Okay,
it.
has it, but you don't want extra stuff, do you? You
Well,
just
I'm not
want
sure
the
what
stevia?
is in Truvia.
Truvia is
Isn't
pretty
it-
natural.
Yeah, I can't read.
Stevia plus
Isn't it just
pinch
a
of
little
sugar
bit like
cane?
half sugar and half stevia or something?
It's got something else in it. It's maltodextrin or something like that.
So
I don't
it's
think
a
it's
form of
hormone.
a sugar.
Yeah, it's another sugar.
Not a
It's
chemical,
nothing. You can just buy stevia at Dollar General store in little packets.
Yeah, yeah.
In
you can
fact,
buy it
we have them
anywhere.
in there, you know, if you're at the church.
And now Walmart actually carries bags of it. You know how Splenda comes that you can bake with it? Stevia comes like that now. And you can actually bake with it. I bake stuff with it, so, okay. Alrighty. Now, why, I'm gonna just throw this question out. Why did I pick peppermints today for the table? Does anybody know? Because peppermint is good for the digestion. So it's just one little, if you're gonna pick a candy, that's a good candy to pick, because it'll help your tummy. Okay, odds and ends. Probiotics are a great idea. Downside of probiotics.
What's a probiotic?
Probiotic is like acidophilus, bifidus. Has anybody heard of
How do
those?
you get 'em?
Bifidus grape- How do you get them? They're bacteria. They're normal body flora. They live in our gut. When you eat food, they just simply start living there as a baby, and they grow there, and there's a symbiotic relationship, and we help them, and they help us, and help digest our food, okay? Now,
Extra, I mean, how do you get extra?
you can buy probiotics at the store, but there was a recent study that came out that showed that almost all of the over-the-counter probiotics that are out there are dead. Oops. Yeah, so that's not doing us much good. So I recommend that a couple of times a week you eat yogurt. And you make sure when you buy your yogurt, you read the label, and it says live culture somewhere on that label.
Can I ask you, does buttermilk have that live yogurt, that live?
It has a culture in it, but I don't know the name of the bug that it is. I'm sorry.
My mother swears by that one, it's always been
I
buttermilk.
think
and
it's
so-
Bulgaria or something.
Is it, I don't know the name of that, yeah, that bacteria.
Bulgaria.
There are several varieties of Acidophilus, several varieties of bifidus. Now, I know that like Activia has picked out a couple of those and put it in yogurt, but pretty much if you go with like an Acidophilus type thing, you're gonna be able to culture, have a good culture in your gut. That's really the bottom line, okay? You wanna keep the bad bacteria under control and have enough good bacteria. The other bonus on that is that it also controls the amount of fungal load you have in your body. Because bacteria eats fungus.
I know it's really good to take probiotics when you're taking antibiotics because antibiotics kill all the good bacteria along with the bad.
Yeah, anytime you do that, but I recommend that you at least a couple of times a week have a little bit of yogurt.
Is the Greek yogurt better? You're hearing all that,
No, that's just a really good ad campaign.
Okay, well, I wanted.
It has more
Has
protein.
more protein.
Yeah, it
Flavor
has
was
different
different.
things from what it just has different
Texture.
nutrients.
It's just a different texture.
Some
Yeah.
people like the texture better. It's a new romantic thing to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, all right, flaxseed meal, we talked a little bit about this. Heart and gut healthy, great stuff. 1 tablespoon of flaxseed meal provides 1,000 milligrams of your omega-3s, both of them, okay? Plus, it's all fiber. So, and it's the kind of fiber that you really need. It's like, anybody ever see that scrubbing bubbles commercial?
Yeah.
It's like scrubbing bubbles for the inside of your gut. Okay, it keeps you scrubbed out. Good stuff. Okay? All right. Really, really important tip. If it's white, don't eat it.
We know that is,
White sugar, white flour, and white rice. Okay? Why? Does anybody know?
All the good stuff staying there.
Well, that's true.
You know,
And that's
but-
part of it.
Too starchy?
Well, that's part of it too. What happens when they take the good stuff out? All that's left is the starch and the sugar and the bad stuff. All right? All right, plus the bleaching agent. The bleaching agent, recently, I wish I had the author with me, I don't have it with me. PharmD, doctor in pharmacology, actually did the research on this. She found that the bleaching agent in white sugar, white flour, and white rice, the thing that makes them white, actually attacks the beta cells of the pancreas and can cause diabetes. Oh, wow. And let's face it, I tell you what, I was raised down the street from a bakery. I had donuts in my house every day, and it's all white junk, So if we just switch from white to whole wheat, if we just switch from white rice to brown rice, white sugar to brown sugar, or organic sugar, or stevia. So like when I make something, when I made that banana bread, what I use is brown sugar, okay, whole wheat flour, and I'll use stevia for the white sugar. Okay, just.
And it was delicious.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
On the flaxseed meal? You take a tablespoon of that, and you don't need you don't need the fish oil?
That's right.
Do that, don't do both of them.
You can do both of them, and you don't need it, unless you have like really bad heart disease and your doctor tells you to. You don't really have to, but it will cover you. Now, we were talking a little bit about the virtues of flaxseed earlier. I keep mine in the freezer because it can lose some of its nutritive value, so I just take it out as I need it. I keep the bag of it in the freezer, and then I keep some of it in like a Tupperware in the fridge, and then I just take it out and put it in my stuff when I.
What about your acidophilus? At one time, was told to only buy it coming from the freezer. because
That's
that
the
would be
best
like-
place. Like going to a health food store and getting it,
Mhm.
that would be the only way I would consider getting it. You know, I mean, if you go over to Walmart and buy it, it's probably dead. It's in
You know,
their
you
shelf.
buy those pills and stuff.
Mhm.
I always get mine from the health food store and it's in the refrigeration section.
Yeah, you're probably okay with that, you know, I wouldn't recommend going to Walmart and buying stuff off the shelf because it's probably dead. Okay, and of course, stay out of the middle of the grocery store. Go around the sides. The sides is where they got all the good stuff. In the middle is where they got all the refined junk food and potato chips and all that kind of stuff. All right. Okay, so I have in the kitchen, if we can all just kind of trot into the kitchen. You guys wanna finish these tests and then